Another guest, was in our cruise cabin. They even left their stuff there. Stay tuned to find out exactly what happened, how it happened, and how Royal Caribbean dealt with it.
Hi, we're Neil and Linda of Adventures with the Anguses. We're a hard-working married couple from Scotland who like to make the most of our holidays from work by travelling as often as we can. We love cruising, city breaks and road trips, and our aim is to bring you useful and informative travel tips, as well as sharing our own adventures.
So, just to give you a bit of background, our last Royal Caribbean cruise in 2018, which before this one was our first and only cruise. We were handed our sea pass, room cards at check-in. However, we realised through watching videos before we went on this cruise that this was no longer the case. Now, Royal Caribbean are leaving the cards on the cabin doors. Straight away I thought this wasn't a good idea, as knowing our luck, anyone could walk into any room, but we didn't think for a minute it would actually happen to us.
So, here is what actually happened. As we approached the room for the first time, we reached out for the envelope with our cards in it and we noticed there was a little tear on the edge. We didn't think too much about that and we continued to take the envelope out from behind the room number, and that's when we noticed it was completely ripped open. A bit confused, we opened the door to our cabin anyway and immediately noticed that the door to the balcony was wide open. It was pushed all the way back and the room was really warm.
It was really warm.
So at this point, Neil hadn't actually entered the room. He was still standing holding the door open and hadn't been in the cabin yet. And then I noticed another thing, that one of the drawers in the desk area was open just a tiny little bit. So I opened it to take a look and you will never guess. There was a big pile of jewellery in there. It looked like men's jewellery. There was a watch and a ring and some chains. I didn't want to touch it at all and maybe be accused of anything, so I shouted out to Neil at the door to go and find a staff member.
So a room attendant was passing, so I got his attention and he came into the cabin to have a look. He asked what happened. Then he went to a phone across the corridor and he made a few minutes phone call, I believe, to a supervisor.
So at this point we were just hanging around the door to our cabin now, waiting for somebody to come to see what was going to happen. But soon an officer and our own room attendant came along. So again they asked what happened, we told them the whole story again. And honestly the officer seemed more bothered about the balcony door being open than about this pile of jewellery that was in this drawer. But it turns out anyway, our room attendant knew what had happened. He explained that the guests from the same room number but on a different desk had got mixed up and they'd come to the wrong deck and come to our room instead of their own. This confuses us a wee bit. We're a bit baffled how they didn't notice that our names were on the room cards that they'd taken out of the envelopes, and our name was on the television as well. And also they'd been in the room long enough to open the balcony door, probably have a look out over the balcony, take off all their jewellery. It really was a bit strange. The officer took the jewellery away, said he was taking it to guest services and they offered to have our room cleaned again for us. We did decline because it actually looked fine, didn't it? It was very clear that nothing had been touched in the bathroom. It didn't look like anyone had sat on the bed or anything like that. It all looked clean enough.
So we never heard any more about it, other than obviously I still think that having the cards on the door is a bad idea.
And I kind of agree with you now, I wasn't sure before. So that's the end of our story of how someone got into our room. If anything similar has happened to you, please let us know in the comments below. I'm sure it does. We'd love to hear your story.
If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications of all our upcoming videos.
Thank you very much for watching and we'll see you soon for more on our Royal Caribbean cruise in the Mediterranean. More to come.
Bye for now.